Okay, and so in the south, we have, again, really flat, fertile soil. And then we also have that long growing season because it's warm all year round. So because of that, the number one thing that they do, ooh, actually, I'm gonna flip back. Oh, no, I'm gonna pause. Oh God, if you're in my class, you know exactly what this is. I think of something, tangents, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're just gonna stick here. This is gonna be good. Okay, their number one job source, their economy, is based on that fertile soil, right? So they are agricultural. That's a big fancy word for farming. And what are some of those things that they're farming? Do you remember? Is it like the north where they're farming squash and beans and corn, or is it different? You're right, it is different. Cash crops. What were some of those cash crops? Indigo. Thank you, Adrian. Sam. Yep. Tobacco is probably their major crop. Oh, tobacco. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to spell things correctly here. Anybody else have rice? Great, that one will work. All right. Rico? Perfect. Last but not least, the one all of you really wanted to say, cotton. Okay, but that's a little bit later, so just kind of keep that in mind. That's not right away. These crops take a lot of work, unlike beans and squash. Cash crops take a lot of work, but they're going to make you a lot of money. So who are the labor source in the South? It's a little different. Pretty easy, right? Slaves from Africa. Good. All right. And so because they have a completely different economy, it's really solely focused on agriculture. That does not mean that there aren't any fur traders and trappers or that there aren't any merchants. It just means that it's probably at a smaller number. So their lifestyle is going to be a little bit different. They're living out on farms, right? They're nowhere near anybody else. The nearest person is miles and miles away. So they might not see anyone for weeks. So they're living a rural, that's a fancy word for out in the country. They're living a rural lifestyle, which means if they don't get to see people very often, they're probably practicing church and school at home. Or they could also be sending their kids to be taught in a private school or have a tutor or something like that. All right. The one thing I was going to tell you, but that I forgot, is if it's agricultural, because of the fertile soil and it's warm all year round, that really shapes an agricultural society, what is the word that we could use for the north? They have, woohoo, they have all these different types of jobs. So instead of just saying, well, it's all different, what's a fancy word for that? Diverse. Perfect. So they have a very diverse and eventually industrial culture and economy. All right. So our last video is going to be catching us up to today and kind of where we left off right before we went to spring break. All right.